Hey, you. Ready to dive into Thymeleaf development? We're going to make this quick, okay?
Ah,
Just the facts you need to hire Thymeleaf developers fast. First things first, though, do yourself a favor and head over to theperfectdeveloper.com. Answer their 5 questions, and you'll be on the right track, I promise. Okay, so get this. 70% of organizations, at least one failed project last year. Crazy, right? Makes you think about the importance of a good team.
it really does. Even the best idea can fall apart if you don't have the right people.
True. And that brings us to Thymeleaf developers, right? Working with that Java-based template engine, often with Spring Framework. But what makes them different? I mean, from a front-end developer or just a general Java developer?
We hear that all the time at theperfectdeveloper.com. It boils down to specialization, really. Thymeleaf devs, they're the server-side rendering masters, building those dynamic parts of web apps, the stuff users interact with, personalized content, real-time updates, interactive forums, all that Thymeleaf magic.
Okay, so server-side rendering, that's their thing. Makes sense. But let's get practical for a sec. What skills do I actually need to be looking for when I'm hiring?
Well, got to start with Thymeleaf knowledge itself, right? I mean, they need to be fluent, syntax, capabilities, the whole 9 yards. But it's not just that. Rock solid Java foundation is a must, especially Spring or Spring Boot.
Java, Spring, Thymeleaf, it's a lot.
Think of it this way. Java's the foundation, Spring's the structure, and Thymeleaf brings it all to life on screen.
Okay, that helps. Anything else I should be keeping in mind?
For sure. They might specialize on the back end, but HTML, CSS, JavaScript, they need to know enough to make it work.
Right, because ultimately it's about the user experience.
Eh,
Got to have that smooth connection.
exactly. And honestly, communication skills are just as vital, maybe more so.
Oh, absolutely.
You need a developer who can explain things clearly, collaborate, and handle those inevitable code freakouts.
Okay, so technical skills, check. Level-headed, check. But how much is all this going to cost me? That's the big question.
Well, that's where things get interesting. Lots of factors, experience, location, you name it. At theperfectdeveloper.com, we crunch those numbers, to give you a realistic range. Think about it like this. Entry level, maybe 40 to 60,000 a year starting out. Mid-level, few years under their belt, you're looking at 60 to 100,000. And those seasoned pros, they can easily hit 100, maybe even 150,000 a year.
Wow, that's quite the spectrum. So how do I know what's fair for the specific experience I need?
ThePerfectDeveloper.com has got you covered. They have a salary calculator tool. You plug in all the details and boom, customized salary range. It's super helpful.
Nice, okay. So skills, check. Salary, check. Now, another dilemma. Full-time, part-time, in-house, outsourced.
Yeah.
So many
That
choices
is a
then.
tough one. No easy answer. Depends on the project, your budget, how much control you want.
Break it down for me.
Long-term project, lots of collaboration. Full-time in-house is probably best. But if the budget is tight or you just need someone for a specific phase, part-time or outsourcing might be smarter.
Makes sense. Got to weigh those pros and cons. Let's say I go the outsourcing route. Any advice on finding the right developers and actually managing them well?
Absolutely. First off, be clear, crystal clear about your needs, skills, deliverables, timeline, and of course, budget. And you know what? ThePerfectDeveloper.com. They have a guide for writing job descriptions for remote devs. It's really good.
Clarity is key. But resumes and portfolios only tell you so much. How do you really vet them?
Coding tests, technical interviews, that's how you see how they think, how they code. Don't be afraid to throw them a real world challenge, something they'd actually face on your project.
Like a sneak peek into their work style. I like it.
Exactly. And during the interview, pay attention to how they communicate.
Right, the soft skills.
Are they interested, good listeners? Can they explain technical stuff in a way anyone can understand?
Gotta have that. Okay, so I'm checking their skills, their communication style, their whole vibe. A lot to think about.
Hmm.
Let's say I've got a few good candidates. How do I pick the best one?
Here's a good strategy, small paid trial project. See their work firsthand. They get a feel for working with you. Win-win.
Smart. Okay, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. Is there an easier way to do all this?
Remember, theperfectdeveloper.com, they've streamlined it all. Full-time, freelancer, even a whole team, they find them. It's like having your own recruiting team.
Whoa, hold on. They handle everything, but how do they make sure it's a good fit, not just technically?
They have an algorithm, really smart one. It factors in your needs, your company culture, even communication style. Plus, a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy with the developers, they find new ones until you are happy.
Okay, that's impressive. So if I'm lost, theperfectdeveloper.com is my guide. Got it. But finding them is just the beginning. How do I manage them well once they're on
I think
board?
that's a whole other conversation.
I bet.
But the short version, communicate clearly, set expectations, check in regularly, give good feedback. Remember, remote devs, they're part of the team. They need to feel valued, included.
Great advice.
Yep.
Okay, we've covered a lot of skills, salary, where to find them, even how to manage them. But before we move on, where can you actually find these Thymeleaf devs? Stay tuned for part 2. We'll tell you where to start your search.
So finding those Thymeleaf developers can be tricky, right?
They can. It's a big world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I even start?
Well, freelance platforms are a good bet. Upwork, TopTal, Fiverr, those kinds of
Oh,
places.
so I could find someone, say, in Argentina or Vietnam even.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. No borders. You get access to a global pool of talent. Plus, you can hire for short-term gigs, even just a few hours of work, if that's what you need.
That's pretty flexible. What if I want to see developers who are active in, the community?
Well, then you got to check out GitHub, Stack Overflow.
Yeah,
Those are the hangouts. You can see who's contributing to Thymeleaf projects, answering questions, showing their skills.
I like that. See who's passionate.
Yeah.
But what about those classic job boards? Are those still useful?
Oh, absolutely. Indeed. Glassdoor, LinkedIn, they're still powerhouses. Just be specific in your search. Don't just type Java developer, use Thymeleaf, Spring Boot, get granular.
Get granular. Okay. Now, outsourcing. I've heard some scary stories. Communication issues, missed deadlines, that kind of thing.
It's true. Outsourcing can be risky,
Yeah.
but if you choose the right partner, you can minimize that risk. Look for agencies or individuals with a proven track record. Good communication, understanding of your project, due diligence is key.
Okay, due diligence. Got it. But honestly, what if I'm just overwhelmed by this whole hiring process?
You and everyone else. That's why theperfectdeveloper.com is so great.
Really?
They've made it so much easier. They find the developers, vet them. It's like having your own personal recruiting team.
Wait, so they handle everything. That sounds amazing, but how do they guarantee a good fit? I mean, beyond just technical skills.
They're really good at that. It's not just skills. It's communication style, work ethic, personality, the whole package. They even use a personality assessment tool, helps them understand how candidates approach problems, work with others, all of that.
Wow, they've really thought of everything. This is starting to sound like the easy button for hiring developers, but how long does it actually take? I'm ready to get this project moving.
That's the best part. Theperfectdeveloper.com can usually match you with someone within a week or two, maybe even faster.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, where to find them, how to streamline it all. But how do I actually nay and know if they're good? How do I assess their skills? Stick with us. We'll dive into interviewing, portfolios, coding tests, all that good stuff in part 3.
All right, welcome back. Last part, we're going to make it count. We've talked about finding Thymeleaf developers, but how do you actually know they're good?
It's like, online dating, great profile, awesome pics, but the first date is where it counts.
True. So how do I avoid getting, catfished in the developer world? Portfolio, that's your starting point. It's like their highlight reel should show their best work, their style. Look for projects that are similar to yours, in scope and complexity.
Okay, so I'm checking out their portfolio, doing my research. What's next? How do I really test their skills?
Coding test, that's the
Yeah.
make or break moment.
Oh, yeah.
Give them a challenge, something real that reflects what they'd be doing on your project.
So I'm seeing how they code, how they solve problems, the whole thing.
Exactly. Look at the quality of the code. Is it clean, organized, easy to read? Are they following best practices, using efficient algorithms? All those good signs.
Clean code, that's a good sign. But what about their thought process? How do I get inside their head a little bit?
Have them walk you through it. Explain their logic, their choices, how they got to the solution.
So I'm not just seeing the finished product, I'm seeing how they got there. Makes sense. Okay, so we've got the portfolio, the coding test, and then there's the interview. Any tips on conducting a good Thymeleaf developer interview?
Keep it conversational. Don't just fire off technical questions. Ask open-ended stuff. Let them show their knowledge. You could ask them to compare different Thymeleaf features or talk about the pros and cons of server-side rendering.
So it's more about sparking a discussion, I see. But interviews can be stressful. Any advice on making it a little more chill?
Set the tone. Be friendly, interested. Remember, it's not just you evaluating them, they're evaluating you too.
It's a two-way street, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so portfolio, coding test, good conversation in the interview. I'm feeling good, but anything else I should do to be absolutely sure?
References, never underestimate those. Talk to people who have worked with them, get insights into their work ethic, communication, all that.
Like the ultimate stamp of approval.
Got it. This has been awesome, really helpful stuff. We've covered a lot of ground, from essential skills to finding them to evaluating them. But before we wrap up, any advice for aspiring Thymeleaf developers out there? How can they stay ahead in this fast-paced tech world? Never stop learning. Don't just focus on Thymeleaf. Explore other technologies, try new tools, stay curious.
No, curious. I love that. And remember, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the whole hiring process, check out theperfectdeveloper.com, answer their 5 questions, get some personalized guidance. It's a game changer. Until next time, keep on learning, keep on diving deep.